I recently saw The Intruder, and this is what the movie's about. It's about an intruder. That's it, that's basically what the movie's about. The title speaks for itself. The movie starts off super fast with the husband getting a surprise party from a wife because he sold a house. But in conclusion, basically everything you need to know about this movie gets explained in under 2 minutes. As they get to the house, they're startled by a cheap jump scare.
This is incredible.
They meet the owner of the house, who's an expert huntsman. He's a really nice guy, but he has a lot of awkward scenes in this movie.
That's a good sign.
After showing them the house, they begin to bargain.
The asking price is $3.5 million. If you can't afford it, you probably shouldn't even be here.
What the fuck? It's really odd because when he comes back for another offer, he gets way too close to his wife for someone she just met like 30 minutes ago. Like seriously, talk about some personal space. After a housewarming party for selling down a deal, one of his friends decides to be irresponsible by throwing a lit cigarette onto the grass. Come on now, you're better than this. So for revenge, the homeowner burns his car seat with his own lit cigarette.
Dude, you gotta stop smoking. That's you.
Me? This is my temple.
If this is his temple, why didn't he just lock the door? I don't get why didn't he put alarm sounds either. This is like, you know, the best thing in his life. During an ice cream parlor, we have the husband flirting with the cashier lady while his woman is literally at the table.
Swirl.
Swirl. It's vanilla and chocolate together.
Oh, okay, so it's all mixed up. Like you?
Yeah,
Okay.
like me.
Okay.
Let me give you a taste.
I'll taste it.
What the f? Charlie invites himself in mowing the lawn. So the wife decides to invite him for Thanksgiving. Look at this shade though.
Houses have integrity?
Well, of course they do, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes. Some people don't, but
There are so many unnecessary suspenseful scenes when scenes aren't suspenseful and it's not really necessary to take the overdramatic scenes, like Charlie being upset over a painting being replaced.
Well, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, one thing about this movie is that there's going to be a lot of scenes like this that make no sense whatsoever. But anyways, after a painfully long 3-minute awkward human conversation between a man and a friend he met 3 days ago but a friend he met 3 hours ago, Scar and his friend hear something in the woods bang on their house, so he installed security cameras the next morning, which I'm guessing Charlie got the memo?
Hey! Hey!
This guy.
Randall! Stop drilling holes in my house!
This conversation and this chemistry was just off, and when Scott threatens Charlie, it just kind of makes you want to laugh.
You be careful with these vines. It took 50 years for these things to grow in the house.
Okay, Mr. Peck.
It's not your house.
After Charlie visits the 3rd time uninvited, which I'm surprised they haven't called the police at this point, we have Scott at the office flirting with the employees.
Miss Richards, one thing you should know about me. I am very passionate about what I do. You won't be disappointed.
Jillian.
What the fuck, dude? Charlie invites himself for the 4th time, and Scott comes home late and tries to use an excuse to change the subject.
You know what's funny? I'm sitting here waiting for you to call, like you usually do.
You're sitting
You
here
don't.
with Charlie.
What?
You're sitting here with Charlie.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
That's right,
Instead
girl.
of-
Get it. But like all couples, they work it out. The next morning, Randall comes home across a shit talker who explains how Charlie killed his wife inside the house under 45 seconds before saying hello. After Scott threatens Charlie at a bar and another meaningless scene, Scott takes a jog with his AirPods. As he jogs, he gets hit by a car, and his AirPods stay in his ears, which is bullshit because my pros always slip off when I'm running. At the hospital, we have Scott telling Annie to go home when he knows damn well his house has a stalker roaming outside. It's literally a death sentence, but at the end of the day, we all know why he kicked her out.
You just want me to get out of your bed so you have more room.
But at the end of the day, we all know why Scott sent her home. Could Scott be the real villain? I mean, he is being Mr. Suave to every other girls in this movie. Scott fears for the worst for Annie, so he goes sends his friend to go check up on her. But good luck taking this scene seriously, because just a heads up, there's more cheesy acting from both men.
I really need to know who I'm dealing with.
If there's anything to find on Charlie Peck, I'm gonna find it.
Charlie beat him to the punch though, as he already shows up for the 5th time with a logoless pizza box.
This pizza is huge. You're not gonna make me eat it alone, are you?
You want some company?
Come on in.
Oh, come the fuck on. After his friend arrives, he sees Charlie inside the house, but doesn't even follow Scott's instructions by calling him. But it wouldn't even matter, because when Annie calls, Scott is fast asleep, even though he sent Charlie because he can't sleep because he's worried about Annie. So what the hell was the point of sending Charlie? For someone who can't sleep because he's worried, you sure are counting your sheep. After Charlie catches Randy's friend, we get another 2 minutes of being dragged on before we finally get a death.
What the?
The next morning, after Charlie stays in, he sees Annie taking a shower, and oh, come on. You know she wanted him in if she's going to leave the door slightly open and no one else is in there but her and him. Also, how did she not see him? In my theory, I think she was just trying to seduce him. He visits the 6th time and throws a cigarette on the grass. Wait, weren't you just complaining about the last time that you had to kill somebody over that? What the hell, man? After a quake of yet another unnecessary suspenseful music in a non-suspenseful scene, he tells his wife all the cheeseman and he calls 911.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I'd like to get a restraining order.
Well, this line is for emergencies only.
The next day, Charlie visits for the 7th time. She kicks him out and notices he's still around, but instead of calling the police like she was gonna do earlier, she explores the hidden room. She discovers an underground secret passage and sees Charlie checking himself out in her car even though she kicked him out of the back of the house, so what the fuck. Also, how did the sun set in under 5 minutes? Look at this weird scene.
No!
This makes no sense because at the first he was right on her tail, but when she discovers her dead friend, falls, and then gets back up, he's all of a sudden far away as hell. What? What? Randy gets a hold of Charlie's daughter, who then we get out an original plot that she left her father because he's a monster. Gasp! When Scott comes home, Charlie ties Annie to the bed. Right, like if she's not gonna make any noise squeaking the bed. Giggity.
This is my house!
Dang, sorry Paige. After a good hustle and a very laughable edit,
Open the door!
as well as an odd shaky camera angle, Charlie decides to go downstairs and get a gun. It's amazing how a professional huntsman can't shoot 2 slow-moving injured human beings that he's trying to target. And how is he okay destroying the house? Wasn't he upset about having drills on the wall?
Stop drilling holes in my house!
After literally another 4 minutes of suspenseful music and walking and breathing, we get an anticlimactic bat to the face. Like all that buildup was for nothing.
911 emergency?
Idiot.
What is the nature of your emergency?
My husband just shot an intruder.
Roll credits. Oh hey, they actually did. And that was The Intruder. For starters, this movie is pretty boring in my opinion. There's too many awkward scenes that I'm probably not going to get a debate out of you if you actually watch the film. I find it odd how Nugget Deed was more entertaining even though it was mostly all in one setting, which was just a house. And The Intruder actually goes in different places, but the dialogue, acting, bad camera angles and awkward cuts, and confusing cringeworthy scenes, I really should have known from the get-go from the beginning of this movie that I knew I wasn't going to like it. Like I said, the beginning was a little rushed. It's just painfully long and unnecessary, almost 2 hours long. And not to mention the cliche plot of I need to get rid of the husband so I could be with the wife. It's unoriginal, but it's decent to watch I guess, but I personally wouldn't recommend it. And they try to fill this time up with all awkward conversations and long suspenseful scenes that aren't really suspenseful in the first place. Dennis Quaid, who played Charlie, did a great role, but his character just had too many awkward screen time, where you just lost interest in the film. Megan Good did good as well. She was just given bad directions in this film, but nonetheless she's a good actress. But Michael Eli, in my opinion, they could have just cast somebody else because I don't really see him as a threatening adult male in these scenes. I just laughed or chuckled at some points.
It took 50 years for these things to grow in the house.
It's not your house.
So with all that out of the way, I give The Intruder 5.5 intruders out of 10.
You be careful with these vines. It took 50 years for these things to grow in the house.
Okay, Mr. Peck.
It's not your house.